Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into something really powerful for anyone looking to do business in Ethiopia. We're talking about the Investment Incentive Regulation 586/2026. We're going to break down exactly what's in it for you and how you can actually use it. But first, let me just ask you something. What if you could seriously lower your business taxes and import all your essential machinery completely duty-free? I mean, think about that for a second. Sounds a little too good to be true, right? Well, that's not just some hypothetical. It's pretty much the core promise of this regulation. All right, so to really get why this regulation is such a big deal, we've got to start with the fundamental challenge that every single investor faces when they're just starting out. I mean, you've got these huge upfront costs for equipment and materials, right? And then on top of that, you have ongoing taxes that can just crush your cash flow, especially in those first critical days. These are massive hurdles. And that's exactly why governments often step in and create programs to help out.
And in Ethiopia, the government has come up with a really direct answer. It's a new, streamlined legal framework that's all about making it easier and way more profitable to invest.
And this is it, Regulation 586/2026. Now, what's so cool about this is we're not just looking at a summary. This is the real deal, the official document. So everything we're talking about today is grounded right here in the law. It's accurate and, more importantly, it's actionable. This whole framework is built to tackle those big barriers we just talked about, cost and tax head on. The goal? To bring in investment, create jobs, and really give a boost to key industries. Okay, so what does this all actually mean for you, the investor on the ground? Well, it breaks down into a few really powerful advantages, and we're going to focus on the two biggest game changers right now. So if you look at Article 6 of the regulation, it lays out this whole menu of benefits. We're talking everything from lower income tax rates and customs duty exemptions to getting a pass on dividend taxes and even special deductions for your capital spending. It's a lot. So let's start with the biggest one, income tax. And believe me, the difference here is dramatic. Okay, so a standard business in Ethiopia is paying a 30% corporate income tax. But under this regulation, that rate can get slashed in half, down to 15%. And get this, for really high priority sectors, like say fertilizer manufacturing, it can drop all the way down to just 5%. That's huge. So let's put that into perspective, right? Cutting your tax rate from 30% down to 15%, that means for every single $100,000 of profit you make, you get to keep an extra $15,000. That's money you can immediately turn around and reinvest, hire more people, buy more materials, and just grow your business so much faster. Yeah, that tax saving is obviously a massive boost to your bottom line. But wait, before you can even make a profit, you got to get set up, right? And that almost always means importing expensive machinery and materials. And that brings us to the second huge advantage. If you look at Article 2, it defines what they call customs duty and tax incentives. Now, it's really important to get this. We're not talking about some small discount here. No, this is a formal system that lets you import essential goods completely exempt from customs duty and other import taxes. That directly slashes your initial setup costs. So what can you actually bring in duty-free? Well, the regulation is super clear on this. We're talking about your core capital goods, the actual machinery for your factory. It also includes the construction materials you need to build your facility. And it even covers specific vehicles that are absolutely essential for your project to run. I mean, this is just a massive cost saving right out of the gate. All right, so the benefits are obviously powerful. There's no doubt about that, but they aren't for just anyone. Which leads to the big question, right? How do you actually qualify? Okay, so Article 7 of the regulation lays out a pretty simple three-step checklist to see if you're eligible. First up, you have to be formally registered as a taxpayer in Ethiopia. That's a basic one. Second, you've got to keep separate, clean accounting records just for the project that's getting the incentive. And third, you have to meet some specific minimum investment amounts. So let's talk about those minimums. For that really big incentive, the reduced income tax rate, Article 7 says you need a minimum investment of $10 million US, or the equivalent in local currency. So yeah, this shows that this particular incentive is really aimed at attracting those larger scale projects, the ones that can have a huge impact on the economy. But hey, not every incentive requires that much cash. The thresholds are different depending on the benefit. For example, there's another great one called deductible capital expenditure. This basically gives you a one-time deduction on your initial investment costs. And to get that, Article 14 sets the minimum at a much more approachable $2 million US. Okay, so let's pull all of this together. We've gone through the tax cuts, the duty-free imports, the rules for who qualifies. What's the bottom line here for a potential investor? What does it all really mean? Well, to put it simply, Regulation 586 gives you a crystal clear strategic advantage. Think about it. The customs exemptions slash your startup costs, which means you hold on to more of your capital. The lower tax rates, they seriously boost your profitability, especially in those make or break first few years. You put those two things together, and what you have is a powerful financial launchpad for your business. At the end of the day, this regulation is so much more than just a list of discounts. It's really a clear signal, an invitation designed to fuel ambition and drive growth. And that leaves us with one final, really exciting question to think about. With a launchpad like this, what could you build?